Like check-ins. Sweet. What was the question?
What's your favorite animal, Michael?
Pink.
Really popular answer.
It's raining.
I also came late. Oh, okay. What's your name? I'm sorry. Thank you.
Oh my god. No. I'll take a shower.
Here we go.
That's pretty good. I'm doing those.
Wait, yes, it's so fast. Just see this. Alrighty, everybody finished? Okay. We're now in questioning. And Elijah.
Yeah, I'll kind of say something about. So before we start, I am Elijah, I'm the Judicial Council President, and I just kind of want to clarify what happens. So I do not vote on the Ethics Council, nor do any of the Judicial Council officers in the room. What we do is we preside over the Ethics Council, which has 9 representatives, one from every branch of the student union. And so as Judicial Council President, I'm here to present their views. I presided over the Ethics Council as an unbiased chair, and so I'm not here to present their findings. And so this is what happened. St. Edward's Hall Senator Michael Heffernan received 4 unexcused absences from Senate on April 30th, 2025, which mandated that the Ethics Council hear an allegation for that. So we convened last Wednesday and we heard oral testimony and we were presented evidence. And so the Ethics Council has decided to present a bill of impeachment against Michael Heffernan for the following reasons. The first being testimony related to the intentionality behind violation of student Senate attendance policy. The second being evidence and testimony related to communication from Senate leadership being repeatedly ignored. And the third reason being evidence and testimony related to an inclination toward future Senate attendance policy violations.
Alrighty, all questions can be directed to. I have 2 questions. The first, is he here today? And then my second question is, this says on the back of the packet, the Ethics Council considered that the election party has committed another violation since this allegation is filed. Are you able to disclose what that violation is?
So after you get 4 unexcused absences, you go to ethics, he's gotten more than that. And so instead of retrying him, they were just considering multiple allegations within 1 year.
Leave on the 3rd page. Is that, do you feel that the behavior or misconduct is that the Ethics Council is still a single person?
So the person who submitted this allegation, we asked them, do you think that this deserves impeachment? And so their answer was no, but the Ethics Council decided yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you explain, like, just sort of explain that last allegation.
Yeah. So inclination toward future Senate attendance policy violation, basically they decided, so for attendance cases, we usually tell them, okay, do not miss Senate again or you're gonna come back to ethics. But they said that the Ethics Council felt that they believed that he would never show up to Senate to kind of go to a meeting. And so they said, since he's inclined to future violations, which is an ethics allegation every time, they issued a bill of impeachment against them.
So how many total absences does he have? Because I like reading through it, it seemed like there was different numbers.
Yes, so he was reported for 4. He has 7 now at this time, but we didn't try him with that.
Was there a specific reason given for the absences, or was it just kind of explained?
Yeah, so from his testimony, he said that he talked to people in his residence hall and said, do you want me to go to Senate? And so a portion of his residence hall said no, so he said he will not go to Senate. That is from his testimony, that's not me making up, that's from the minutes, but yes.
How many meetings has he been to?
Can I? Yes, this is the first meeting that the state Edward Senator is present at, according to my minutes.
I wanted to quote in something from this, I'm curious about some of that. The ethics council considered the testimony of the elected party in which he claimed that he decided not to attend Senate meetings based on the advice of a portion of his constituents. Did the ethics council determine what that portion of the constituents was? Like, could we have a clarification on about what kind of portion we're talking?
So they asked him how many people were like, told you his numbers, and that's when range of about 25 to 30 people said. That was a guesstimate number.
Go with Kyle first.
How many people are in St. Edward's Hall?
I can pull that up for you. So look up for it.
Michael, you could ask questions.
Am I allowed to clarify something?
In a sense, yeah.
Well, the 25 to 30 figure, I don't feel like.
Debate, we're not in debate, we're
Oh,
doing questioning. No, you're fine, you're fine. We're just in questioning right now, so it has to, have an essence of it, but.
Happen said that this is the first meeting he's been to, but it says on here that he was present. Was he present? Or was
I
there
would
a
like to
proxy?
clarify, I
was
take,
great.
oh, sorry, I made a mistake, I accidentally checked that box, it's completely on me, I take attendance for 50-some people on a very finicky spreadsheet, that is on me. He later clarified during his ethics hearing from what I was given post notes that he actually did not show up to that. So my evidence technically is a week behind, but I do apologize, regardless, he did reach the 4 prior to the end of the 2024 school.
I was gonna ask like how he got his constituents' responses or like that they didn't want him to go to Senate. Was there like a Google form or something they filled out?
Based on his testimony, I believe it was a group meeting.
A group me?
He did it, so like he said that he typed in like a group me or group chat and he got responses and like thumbs up with something along those lines.
We'll go to Michael.
According to my notes, Hef is a member of Army ROTC, and I was just wondering if that had any relation, him being like a loyal future soldier to our country, of his missing, if there were like any related issues.
That did not come up in the interview.
Next.
Okay. On the point of the portion of the constituents, it sounded as though the senator himself had some kind of clarification. Yes, I'm aware we're not in debate and that he can't clarify, but I'm curious to know if there is some other way by which in this questioning period we can acquire verification as to how many constituents actually believe that he should not attend these meetings. Is that a question?
It's a question for,
If he's the only one we can ask questions, then it's a question for a while.
where the questions for you.
He basically, so what he did was he went through his messages and counted how many thumbs up, and we told us that the number of thumbs up. And so I can go through the minutes and I can double check everything if you would appreciate that. Because
How much time would it take you to do that?
probably a little bit, I would have to read through the entire.
Would it be too much trouble for you?
I can do it, but I would have to come back to that question if people have more
Okay.
questions.
Okay with that.
How long is the point of inquiry before we get to the debate?
So in questioning, we need a motion and then somebody has to second that motion and then we'll vote if we're going to move into debate.
And then just another like clarification, there's also been the practice of the Senate that the party that is being debated leave the Senate room during the debate. So during impeachment proceedings in the past, like during the John Knott impeachment proceeding last year, the chair does, and the Senate chair requests normally that the party that is being impeached leaves the room during the debate. And yeah, just to clarify that as well.
We're gonna even it out here. Dean?
It states on the last page that, point of inquiry, that he stated that they wanted to run for senator because they wanted to win the election, and that it was the belief that he was not fully committed to the job. Can I have some clarification on why?
When the ethics council asked him, so he basically gave his spiel, and then the ethics council asked him, why do you represent it? And he was talking, I just wanted to win the election. That's what he told them. And so they decided that, okay, he just wanted to win the election. He's not really committed to the job as being a senator. So this is what the ethics council decided.
I think.
So are we able to direct questions to Michael during the questioning period and if not, is there a way that he can remain in the room during the debate period that we can direct questions to him?
Yeah, so during the questioning period, you are not permitted to ask questions to anyone besides Elijah, because he's the chairperson of the Student Union Ethics Council who put forward this bill of impeachment. It has been the practice of Senate, however, that the party in question during debate does leave during the debate itself.
Just like a point of clarification, this is because since this is not an actual hearing, like, it's not that you're technically not being able to defend yourself from being removed from your position.
Yeah,
until
so to clarify,
Right.
so to clarify, like today, just to clarify once again, today we're not deciding whether or not Michael should be removed from Senate. Today, we're deciding whether there is enough evidence to proceed to a hearing. And if the Senate today, by simple majority vote, decides that there is enough evidence and that Michael could potentially be impeached, that the evidence is there, then next week there would be a Senate hearing, which would offer ample opportunity for Michael to speak and share his side of the story and share plenty of evidence on that he believes is evidence in defense of himself. And then that would require a supermajority vote to then remove Michael from Senate. So for today, we're not considering a question of removal from Senate. Today, we're only considering whether the evidence presented by the Student Union Ethics Council and their reasoning is sufficient enough to advance to a hearing, which would take place at the next Senate meeting of this upcoming Wednesday.
Yeah, and simplified, that's the question.
I have an answer to the previous question. The number is 170 people per Senate.
170. I think Matt's, and then we'll go to Mark.
More of a point of inquiry for you two up here, but in support of Ms. Benfield's point that it is abundantly clear that the senator from Steds has some kind of information that would probably be quite useful to the people of the Senate, and yet Mr. Robinson continues to insist that it is customary of the Senate to remove the person from the room for debate. So is there anything we can do about that? Because it would be a catastrophe if there was vital information that was not given to us before we were to come to a vote on this issue.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
parliamentary.
Yeah, of course. So just again to clarify, my role during Senate proceedings, I have no opinion. I'm not allowed to have an opinion. I just kind of sit here and I'm supposed to be a resource to you guys regarding the rules. And so again, when it comes to the rules of the Senate and the bylaws of the Senate, which the Senate decided to put in place, you are unable to direct questions to anyone besides substantive questions to anyone besides Elijah, the J Council president. If you have points of inquiry, you can direct them to the chair, who will sometimes use me to answer them. But again, it has been the custom that when a party is debated during nominations, which I know you've all seen, or during impeachment proceedings, the party is normally asked to leave the room. And so I'm just informing you guys of that thing. And again, to your point regarding evidence, great question. Again, Michael would be more than welcome if this proceeds next week to then talk about any evidence or share his own opinions and views as well. So this is by no means a way of silencing anyone or anything like that. This is just like, hey, is there evidence to talk about this? If you guys decide yes, then it will be talked about.
Thank you.
We'll go to Michael and then.
Is there, since the Senate decided those rules, can they decide now to direct questions to me? Because I only got 5 minutes of speaking time in the judicial council hearing. So all the evidence didn't really get clarified. I just want this to be crystal clear.
Yeah, no, I completely understand where you're coming from with that. So because of the Senate bylaws and the standard code of parliamentary procedure, they cannot decide to direct questions to you because we have begun debate on a substantive motion, which is the letter of impeachment, and therefore we have to follow this proceeding. So there is no way at the moment for them to like motion to ask you questions, if that makes sense.
Point of clarification, one, Sam, I think you should have an opinion, like not maybe not in this, but right now. And point of inquiry, like we'll have that information, like he can speak at the meeting and then like for debate only, like when we're debating as a Senate, what to do. Like,
So you mean if we proceed to like next week, and if that happens?
hypothetically, if we proceed.
Yeah, no, so next week, I'm sorry, I
Yeah, you
totally
can
jumped
take
on.
it.
So yeah, so last year, actually, there were some amendments made to the impeachment process following the last year's impeachment, just because there was some controversy surrounding that. So in the event, like if we do proceed to a hearing, if you go to like the bylaws, it's section 5.6. There's a hearing, I'm just gonna read it directly just because I feel like this will offer some clarification as to what can be done next week. So in the event the bill of impeachment is passed by the Senate and a hearing regarding removing is held, which would happen next Wednesday, the alleged party may be asked questions by members of the Senate and may present arguments, witnesses, and evidence in their defense. In the event the bill of impeachment was introduced by the Student Union Ethics Council, members of the Senate may request to question the chair or acting chair of the Student Union Ethics Council further regarding evidence, so Elijah, procedure, or the rationale of the council. In the event the bill was introduced by a senator, you can then ask questions of the senator. So again, all this concerns regarding evidence or evidence from Michael or questions from Michael or testimony from Michael, if you guys decide to, again, consider it, that would happen next week.
And the second point of inquiry, what's the percentage of like vote that would, or impeachment, like to get it to a hearing is like.
Yeah, to get it to a
but
hearing, it's
is it
majority.
majority to, if it were to get that far, to impeach him, or is it 2/3?
It would be 2/3, it'd be super majority to remove.
So it's my understanding that we can motion to either suspend the bylaws, the Constitution, or the Standard Code of Parliamentary Procedure to allow Michael to remain in the room during the debate. How do I go about doing that? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, so again, so when I've been saying it's been customary for the person in question to leave the room, based off of recent Senate bylaw amendments, it is not required that Michael leaves the room during debate itself. It is just something that the Senate has historically observed. So if there is a great insistence that Michael remains in the room, if Michael feels very strongly about remaining in the room, like technically he is able to remain in the room during debate and participate in debate. However, again, it is the custom that that does not happen.
We'll go there because he hasn't spoken yet, but.
What if we did like half and half, like if you stayed in the room for a portion of it and then we leave it home?
So procedurally, there's like not really a way to do that per se. So you can't really make a motion for that. Like if that is something that Michael or you guys want to happen, that it just kind of is whether or not Michael decides to leave the room at that point.
We'll go Matt and
I apologize, my raising another point of inquiry creates an inconvenience for the chair, but at this point, based on the possibility of suspending the bylaws to permit him to remain in the room, I have to ask, why can't we just suspend the bylaws to allow the man to be questioned? Like the Senate can suspend the bylaws, can they not?
You can suspend the bylaws, so if you wish to, you can suspend this if you can, so there are multiple options here. So in response to your question regarding suspending the rules by which we operate, you can motion to suspend adherence to parliamentary procedure, which would be a supermajority vote to get rid of that, which is just the way that we do things, so i.e. questioning, debate, stuff like that. You can motion to do that, but that's makes things very challenging because then there's like the chair is not there to call on people. It's more kind of like anyone can talk whatever and there's no structure to debate. That would be like getting rid of all of that. You can motion to suspend specific rules. And then of course, when it comes to suspending the Senate bylaws, let me just see the vote. Actually, sorry. I think it's unanimous consent to suspend the Senate bylaws as well. So those are like the options in that regard, which kind of lays out some of our impeachment processes.
As a general quick inquiry, are there limits to like what a proxy can do? Like, can a proxy for someone propose to suspend a bylaw?
Yes. Yeah, and then anyone can ask points or anything, and those like points of inquiry are stuff that we answer. But if you guys have any substantive questions, because we are still in substantive questioning, you direct those towards Elijah.
Yes. Yeah, Molly.
And I motion to move out of questioning and into debate.
Okay. Now vote on the motion to move out questioning into debate. All those in favor? All opposed? Abstain? We're now in debate. Historically, Michael, can you leave the room? A precedent, or unless somebody wants to, unless you want to stay, okay.
Do I have Tommy?
We just do a vote on it. You can't force a member of Senate to not be in the Senate room if that makes sense.
Unless you want to stay. Do you want to stay?
I just wanted to question.
Okay, go ahead. We're in debate, so.
Is debate meant to make comments regarding?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's very clear, Chairman Member Chio, that Senator Heffernan has missed up to 7 Senate meetings already without a genuine reason why. Not even that he had like as another senator mentioned, being a part of OTC, but simply because a small portion of 6 actually of his constituents said that he shouldn't. And we've all made the sacrifice to be here every single Wednesday at the time. He's not fulfilling as like any politician or any senator should be. The evidence is indeed there that he hasn't been here, which is against our bylaws and constitution. I don't see why there would be any evidence that he hasn't been here. He's missed the days. That has to have some type of evidence or
to go into actual impeachment proceedings, to at least discuss why this happened.
Okay, before we go to anybody else, just to clarify, let's keep all comments on the basis of the evidence. Yeah.
I think that there is merit to the fact that there are a substantial amount of people in St. Edward Hall who say that he shouldn't go, and I understand potential reasoning behind him not attending. But I think that's something that we would need to consider in terms of whether or not we want to move forward with an impeachment hearing, is whether or not there's intention for him to return to Senate. Like if that there's going to be a change there, because like if the intention of his constituents is that he should start going, then that would be a reason that we should go, so that he would be able to present that evidence at the impeachment trial. But if there's no intention of that changing, then maybe that changes people's perspective. That's just my thought.
Yes, we'll go here and then.
Yeah, I just kind of like to push back against that. 16% of your constituents isn't really like a large substantial number. Like based off of the 25 to 30, 28 out of 170 is 16.5%. And so like that's not even like a third. That's not even like a majority. So I feel like you can't just skip something because like 28 of your friends say like, oh, like you don't have to go to Senate because we thumbs up your group me post. Like that, I mean, that's just my thoughts on that.
And then we'll go up.
I was just gonna say that I don't think the semantics of that, I fully agree with what you just said, and I think that's something that should also be talked about in a hearing. So this is, we're questioning if there should be a hearing. So arguments that like have been brought up is something that we would have in a full-on debate next week, which is why I think we should have the opportunity to at least let himself defend it. But I think there's been substantial enough evidence that we should at least have a hearing in which if he wants to defend himself, he can, and we can ask more questions directly to him as well.
Just to clarify, the 25 to 30 number, I don't believe is fully accurate. That's just the group me, and they asked me about the group me. And I disagree with them using that as the sole evidence of support. I haven't met a single person who told me to go to the meetings. I put it in the group me, I made it well known that my intention was to not go to the meetings. That was my campaign promise, and I won. And no one has told me, not a single Stedsman has said. I've asked around, even the new freshmen, I spoke to them. And they've made it clear they don't want me to go to the meetings, and I'm just a servant of their will.
Michael, and then we'll go up and.
Yeah, I don't have a short for calculator with me. So I don't know if that number is accurate, but if you like, go to a hall council meeting, that doesn't mean like 170 people are there. And I mean, like, I don't feel like I'm making like a sacrifice to be here. I feel like this is a privilege, and I feel like maybe like he's sacrificing his like possible position as a senator to show like to show the will of his dorm. So even though like I'd be fine going to a hearing, I don't like if that's what he was doing. If he was under the impression that he didn't have to go because of that, then I don't know if they would count as much of an absence as if he just said like, oh, like I'm just not going to show like. So I don't know if they weight the same absences as like the one time like I forgot like to come to this. So I don't know if I would count those as the same.
Okay, we'll go up and then.
Just a quick question. Are we allowed to ask him questions during debate? So.
Sorry, no, yeah.
So like you just have to keep debate like germane to the topic at hand, and so the topic is there enough evidence? So the topic is bill impeachment, is there enough evidence to go to hearing? So that's just like what you can debate about, and so that's just what you can talk about.
Yes.
Then I do.
Yeah.
How did you ask the young person that? How did you ask your dorm? Like,
Essentially every hall council, I usually give a presentation every week, and my campaign promise was to not go to any meetings.
Like, when you said you got like how many, I remember you that included me, so that like in the hall council?
Well, I think the majority of votes that I won with stand as evidence.
Okay, this is becoming like the aspect of a hearing, so we're gonna move to the next center. Oh, O'Neill? No?
Oh, no.
No, okay, yeah, Matt.
I write with the intention of pointing out several reasons as to why this absolutely should not move to a hearing. There is in fact not enough evidence to go to a hearing. In one sense, in one sense, there absolutely is. Yes, it is clear that the gentleman has indeed had a number of unexcused absences, but it is abundantly clear that the gentleman has plenty of information that the Ethics Council refused to put into this document. The evidence is one-sided. That is not enough evidence to go to a hearing whatsoever. Additionally, if we take at full value the value of the election itself, the value of the fact that the gentleman was elected on the very campaign promise of not showing up, I quote again this very document and say, the Ethics Council considered the testimony of the alleged party in which he claimed that he decided to not attend Senate meeting based on the advice of a portion of his constituents. They viewed this as a failure to properly represent the entirety of his constituents based on the opinions of some. The entirety of his constituents. Last year, there was a student activity fee that was supposed to be raised. The proposal was raised, and my own hall senator sent around a form saying, "Hey, are you for or against this? Put in a simple ticker, a yes or a no, and I'll take the percentages, and whichever one has more, I'll represent." By coming to the meeting and voting in favor of it, when I myself was against it, he failed to represent the entirety of his constituents. Should he have been impeached? Because he did not represent the entirety of his constituents? Could he have voted for both at once? No. So if a gentleman is representing the majority of his constituents, I do not see anything fundamentally wrong with this. I also, again, read the document and saying, lastly, the Ethics Council considered the likelihood that this behavior would continue as the alleged party was unapologetic about missing Senate meetings because of the fact that its constituents told him to do it, and that there may be a member of the alleged party's residence halls who would attend Senate meetings. So the Ethics Council wants to put in place somebody who would attend Senate meetings, even when the majority of the constituents would rather he not. Is that the will of democracy? Is it the will of democracy to tear somebody down for the sake of putting somebody into place, a puppet of one singular council and their decision? Of course that is not democracy. That is not the spirit of the student union. The spirit of the student union is the democracy that also makes up this nation. So of course it would be completely wrong to take this to a hearing. The motion to take it to a hearing is completely frivolous. It's pointless. It is one-sided. It is completely and entirely unnecessary. And I encourage everybody in this room to shoot it down immediately. Thank you.
It's like a mini debate. I feel like part of the comments on what would be said during the meeting.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, and that's what I'm re-emphasizing, the question at hand, and keep all comments on the basis of the evidence, please.
Oh, and then just also a reminder as well, if you guys do have opinions on what debate should look like, you do also have the right to shape debate, i.e. impose speaking times and or a general limit on how long this particular topic can be discussed.
Yes.
Just something that I forgot to mention earlier on.
Okay, you've been waiting for a long time.
Motion to move out of debate into the vote.
Second.
We now vote on the motion to move out of debate into a vote. All those in favor? All opposed? Abstain? Yes. Okay. We will now vote on letter 252601, the bill of impeachment. All in favor?
Can you raise your hands like
Raise
really
it
high? I'm
really
so
high.
sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, really high.
Yeah.
Yes, so that.
It
It
passes.
Well, first I guess.
Oh, yeah, well, all
Yeah.
opposed first. Okay, abstain? Okay, it passes. Okay, so that means we will have a hearing next week, next Wednesday. Okay. We have nothing in general orders and nothing in new business. So the only announcement I have that reminder halls that fuel applications is due September 14th. Okay, is there anybody?
Flip applications for sub closed tonight at 11:59, and sub will also be having a Fousey Cafe tomorrow and event on Friday where we'll hand out donuts and beer to get everyone hyped for the football game. Outside of D-Bar, sorry.
I've got two, one, J council application due this Friday, and two, can you hand in all of the impeachment packets so I can have them shortly?
Yes. So just to echo that, hand in all the packets to Lyda. On the Women's Network, it was like a professional development club for women is having Neil Ivy, write down please. Women's Network, which is a professional development club here, is having Coach Neil Ivy, the women's basketball team, speak in the Hesburgh Auditorium on Tuesday at 5:30. So if you're a senator of a women's hall, if you could pass that on to the girls in your hall. She's speaking for 50 years in women's sports.
Rock and Rally is happening on Friday at 6 p.m. On South Quad. Please show up. The student will be there. The football team will be there, and there'll be a lot of skits and teachers and stuff. So please show up.
So I was wondering if we could just say a quick prayer for Charlie Kirk. I'm not sure if any of you guys have been thought and believe, but that's who I have.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
So yeah. Lord, I receive Charlie Kirk into your care, bring peace into his soul, comfort to his family, and healing to our nation. Amen.
Open my future next week.
Ran your campaign on never showing up in it. I'm very proud of you. That's absolutely amazing. This is all useless. Doing government is useless. Just don't show.
Any other now?
You post on your Instagram?
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
We're announcements, please.
Return meeting.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
One time.
They don't have
to.